the AI agent application software, economy that's coming will be 10 times bigger than the SaaS business model.
Oh yeah.
People have been obsessed with building SaaS companies because of how much money they can make for the last, 15 years. And now something is here that is brand new, easy to use, easy to build, and it's going to be 10x bigger. Like, how do you not want to jump on this right now when you hear this? People should be afraid for the change that's coming. Again, it doesn't mean 50% of people are going to be fired in 2026, but it means deep disruption in almost every white collar job.
There is a model of Google Gemini, and you might have already seen this, but I don't know if you've actually played it.
No, dude, it's so hard to keep up. I mean, this is the whole point, right? It's so hard to keep up with this stuff. I did see somebody, is it like the Gemini 2.0 agent, something like that?
So, I mean, it is an agent. Like there is an agent, but there's actually something really cool they can do. I think anybody can do this. You just have to sign up, but it's aistudio.google.com. And this is their setup for essentially allowing you to use their API, right? Like you can get an API key and whatnot. So you can create your prompt. And the thing about Gemini compared to ChatGPT and compared to Claude right now, and Perplexity just uses those things on the back end, is the token window.
Yeah, it's really big.
It's now like 1 million plus. Like if you want to generate an entire book in a single prompt, you can. Like the review that I was having, and I can't share that because it's something that we're working on. It took several PDFs that I've generated of all this research that I've done, and I said, take this, distill it, simplify it, and fix any issues that we have in the code templates. And it just kept going and going and going. And it only used, I think, maybe 6,000 some tokens, but it was already maybe 12, 15 pages worth of content that came out. Like insanely powerful. So like if nothing else, this is already really, really good for that. But it's actually really good on the code generation side. Like if you compare this with ChatGPT or Claude, like I would say that this version of Gemini is just as good, if not better, than those models. But this is a really, really cool thing over here. And I don't know if it's going to work when I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah, that's what I heard about multimodal Gemini 2.0. Yeah.
So
how'd you get there? Sorry, real quick. How'd you get there?
It's just aistudio.google.
Yeah, I'm on that. How'd you get to multimodal?
It's stream real time.
Oh, okay. Perfect. I found it. Yep.
So that second one right there. And I was just clicking around, checking this out. You can select the voice. And let me see. I'm going to change the share just to share the tab so that I can do the audio. So I can do a screen share, or I can do video share, and I can talk to it. So this is what we were talking about before, right? Things in the future, because AI is so powerful, is voice first. Like we talked about mobile first, 3-4 years ago, and prior to that, it was like all web app, HTML 2.0 and or 5 and all that stuff. Web 2.0. Now we got Web 3.0 with blockchain and all that stuff. But in terms of modalities, it's like it's gone from desktop computing to mobile computing, and now I think it becomes voice first, especially when you're starting to use like Google Glasses, right? Like Meta glasses that you got or whatever.
Yep.
It's like it's all voice driven. So I can share my screen, and let me just do this entire screen over here.
Okay, I see you're sharing your screen. Is there anything specific you would like me to do with the shared screen?
Tell me what I'm looking at within the screen right now.
Sure, you're looking at the Google AI Studio page, specifically the Stream Real-Time section. It shows options for system instructions, run settings, and a few audio output options.
So I'm on our website for InsureMetrics, which is a SaaS company focused on performance management and retention for insurance agencies. How should I improve the content on the screen?
Okay, you're now on the InsureMetrics website, which is a SaaS company focused on performance management and retention for insurance agencies. To give you specific advice on improving the content, I'd need to know what your goals are for the site. What are you hoping to achieve with this page?
Can you just help me update the copy and my headline?
Sure, I can help with that. What specific changes to the copy and headline are you looking to make?
I don't think it speaks to our audience.
Okay, it sounds like you want to revise the copy and headline to better resonate with your target audience. To help with that, could you tell me a bit more about who your audience is?
Captive insurance agencies.
Okay, your target audience is captive insurance agencies. Knowing this, I can offer more tailored suggestions for improving the copy. What aspects of the current headline and copy do you think are not resonating with them?
I don't know. You read the screen and you let me know.
All right, looking at the headline, unlock sustainable growth, retain clients and reduce churn effortlessly. And the subheadline, all your agency's needs. One dashboard. Increase efficiency, track performance, and scale your operations effortlessly. Here's what I notice. The headline does a good job of highlighting key benefits like sustainable growth, client retention, and reduced churn. However, it might be a bit generic. The subheadline lists multiple features but may be a bit long. Do you agree?
Sure.
Okay, given that your target audience is captive insurance agencies, here's a potential approach for your headline and subheadline. For the headline, you could try something more specific, like boost captive agency performance, retain clients, and reduce churn. For the subheadline, perhaps, a single dashboard to track performance, increase efficiency, and grow your agency effortlessly. What do you think of this direction?
It's not bad.
Okay, it's not bad. Is there anything you would like to adjust or refine about the suggested headline and subheadline?
Okay. So like, it's really cool that it can actually see your screen and give you responses. And so I love that I can be anywhere and I can be using my voice to just interact with this thing and just be like, hey, like, how do I find, like, I was on the Trello board. I was like, how do I toggle labels in Trello? And it was able to tell me, right? Like, and I was like, hey, what should I improve in the current setup that we have here? And it was able to see my screen and just give me advice right there, kind of live interactively. That's really cool. I will say though, I don't love the assistant mode like that they have. It's like so like Q&A, like it's constantly
Yeah.
like pinging you, like confirming before it actually gives you an answer. I feel like the ChatGPT version is like actually telling you what you want instead of asking like 50 million
Yeah.
questions every time.
Yeah, I think that's funny because I noticed that, of course, right away. And that's where there's such a fine line, right? Because what ends up happening is why a lot of times ChatGPT, whether text or talking, can suck for people is it does just be you an answer right away without actually knowing very much information. And so you want it to know more than just like one statement's worth. But also you don't want what you just had, which is like, ask me a question every time I say something to keep narrowing it down over and over before you give an answer. Like that's too annoying. They have to find the middle ground. Yeah, I think ChatGPT is doing better with that when I've talked to it on my glasses, by the way, which is freaking ridiculous and awesome. It is getting a lot better, but still, you're so right. Like it can see your screen and then tell you. I mean, I'm imagining here Salesforce or some of these like complex CRM type systems where you just get confused as to what to do.
Yeah.
You just have it up and be like, I don't know how to do this. Tell me, and it'll tell you. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I think that's like the perfect use case. Like when I'm trying to do something in a system I'm not familiar with, this thing is a live assistant guiding me through that. Like onboarding journey for different types of software, like all this stuff, it becomes a whole lot easier with this. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like a live how-to AI assistant.
Yeah, it's amazing. And again, this is the very beginning of this kind of thing, right? Imagine when, you know, this is probably quite a while away, but it's still probably possible of, hey, what do you think of my landing page copy? And then blah, blah, blah. Oh, you should change this, you should change this. Okay, go change it. And then it'll do it for you. Like we're not that far away from that. It's probably not going to happen in 2025, but probably sooner than you think, maybe 26.
Actually, I would argue that I think it's already here. So that
Well,
takes me to the
that's a
second
good
tool. Like, let me
point.
share the second tool that I've been.
Yeah, please do. Again, I think to your point, things are moving so fast that it actually is possible. And a lot of
So
things we don't think are.
if you are like really into the LM space and you're getting really great results and you understand automation and whatnot, like Pinocchio is the tool for you.
Sorry, what?
Because
Can you explain this one? What is
yeah,
it?
yeah, exactly. So Pinocchio is essentially a browser that you can control automatically, and it integrates with like hundreds and thousands of other AI open source apps. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, like, I just found about this last night, and I hadn't had a chance to play with it yet. But the idea is that once when you download it, you can basically run any of these other models, and these are all open source models. So, like the
Mhm.
whole DIY, like, how many times have you seen a video and you're like, "That's a really really cool LLM model. I wish I could use it," and you find out it's open source, and you're like, "How do I install this stuff?" Right?
Yeah, because it's hard.
It is.
Yeah.
And if you're not a developer, you know how to do that. Enter Pinocchio. It handles all of it for you. Like
Wow.
one click installation, setup, configuration, all that stuff. And then it gives you an interactive screen for just using and deploying it. You don't have to figure out how to deploy this stuff. This thing handles it for you. So if you have anything that you want to do that's open source, it can create a script that automatically installs that and all the dependencies for you. And you don't have to figure out anything else. You just use the tool. So, like, that is level one, right? It's just giving you access to all of these amazing open source tools that you can run locally on your computer. So no more having to pay for ChatGPT, no more having to pay for Stable Diffusion or Midjourney. You can download the equivalent models. So the one that's really crazy is Pyramid Flow, because Pyramid Flow just introduced Flux into their uh, library. And so if you don't know what Flux is, it's like one of the best video generation tools right now, right? And so now with Pyramid Flow, because Flux is open source and it's plugged in with Pyramid Flow, you can take text and turn it into video, or you can take images and turn it into video, and you can do it completely for free.
Can you explain that? Because I'm honestly curious of how it could be free. I understand open source, but isn't there costs for compute, and there's got to be cost somewhere.
Well, it's running on your local computer.
Oh, I
So,
see, because it's on your, okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
so it's local. Everything is local. It's not
Okay.
on another server. It's free because Pinocchio is open source, and there's no API call. This is all happening on your
Okay.
local
So
computer.
you just need, so the negative or the downside is you got to have a really nice computer and know that, running that's going to take a bit of
Essentially,
compute or,
yep, exactly.
yeah.
So it's like it gives you step-by-step instructions. It's going to give you a warning that this might not be safe if you're running on Windows. But hey, like, this is they made it super simple to install, and yeah, it's not signed and all that stuff, but you know, this is what's available, and this is on the cutting edge. So
It seems
uh,
really cool. I already sent it to JD to investigate. He probably already knows, but want to get his take on it. But yeah, what's funny about this is while this is definitely like very developer-y, and neither of us have used it yet. Hopefully, it's easy. But the people watching this probably are not the type who want to be using open source models and whatnot. But I think even just the concept here is where all of this is going, right? Which is, hey, these things that are just have been too complex to do, where
yeah,
you had to be a developer, AI is making them so easy that you don't have to be a developer anymore, right? And this is just a different version of the concept of V0 and Cursor and Replit, where they're taking these concepts that only developers could use, and that's not true anymore, right? And it's happening so fast. It's unbelievable.
And what's amazing is within the open source community is that people are trying to create tools that make it easier and easier for more people to join the community, right? Or to make projects more accessible. So like this is in Hugging Face, which is like a site that focuses on creating all these models, and this is on GitHub, right? Like these are all open source packages. And if I'm the developer of Divica, right, and there's maybe 50 people actually using the library, like where does my project actually go? The use of that project becomes really, really low. Something like Pinocchio now makes it so simple and easy for anybody to install and start testing and using it just like you would ChatGPT, that it makes a lot of these projects and packages more accessible for folks, and it increases the adoption of these things. Because now we're not just seeing the ChatGPTs and Claudes that have billions of dollars backing them. You're seeing whoever developed this one that might be doing this on their nights and weekends, right? But it happens to be really, really good. But who knows about it, right? Unless you have a tool like this that makes it accessible to a wider range of consumers.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, this is really cool. This is something I want to be playing with. I mean, this is the kind of thing, or some of these models and whatnot, that we're incorporating into Zeal, right? Which is these really cool open source tools. We can put them into Zeal and then streamline the simplicity, because that's the whole value prop of Zeal is simplicity,
Absolutely.
right? So, we already have 5 image models now in there that are just super easy to use. You don't need any tech skills, and again, this is just, it's really powerful to give regular people the power of what only developers have had before. It's
Exactly.
awesome. Yeah, I love
Uh,
this.
I'll just say one other thing about this is it talks about like you can install it and run it locally, but this part right here, programmatically control any application automatically. That's the crazy part about this tool.
Explain it.
So it has the tool in itself allows you to install things with one click, right? Like, and it has like its own interface. It's got its own controls. It's like having a browser that can install AI packages. But it's also got another special interface or special language that you can use. So if you do want to learn how to program a little bit, is you can start to chain together steps between these models and start to automate things. Like, let's just say I wanted to grab a headline from today's news, right? And I just grab one, just a text headline. I can take that scrape portion, put it into here, and like say automate that so it happens every morning at 5 a.m. And then the next step could be take that headline, pass it to Ideogram or something, image generator, and it creates like a realistic image based off that headline. And then it takes that headline and generates using pyramid flow a video clip that's like 30 seconds long. And this is all happening on my local machine. I'm not having to go out and use like Zapier or Pabbly or Make or whatever. Like this is all happening in one tool on my computer locally, not having to pay anything extra for it. And after that's all automated, like maybe there's another library package that allows me to send it via email to other people, right? And so it's just making a lot of this stuff more accessible. And I haven't explored it yet, but like I'm really, really excited to look at this in more depth because I think by this time next week I'll be able to share like a whole lot more. I'll test it, play around with it, but I think anybody can get in here and just start running it and see what they can do with it. It's pretty exciting.
It really is. I mean, it is wild though how many exciting things are happening, right? Like it is overwhelming to know what to play with, and that's where hopefully we can come in and help people, right? Like each week, here's the thing you need to play with, to learn, to see what's possible, how you can incorporate it into your workflow or your business. Because I haven't even heard of this. I had seen the Google thing, but not this, right? And this seems potentially even bigger depending on use cases, right? But that's also the point. There's so many things. It's every day something comes out that's massive, but not everything. You can't feel like there's massive things happening every day in your life. It just, emotions don't work that way, right? But that is what's happening.
It is. It is. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why it's like is great where we can just hop onto this and like, you're seeing things, you guys are developing things. I'm constantly, getting new news and learning these different platforms and whatnot. And for me, it's like I like to learn it, absorb it, because my teams, my organizations are going to take this stuff and add it to their workflows. And it's like when we do our whole RSOC framework, right? Requirements, simplify, execute, optimize, and then code. It's like if they can make their execution more efficient on like a unit base or cycle, then like that's what we want to do. But with a tool like this, where after you've done it a few times, you can just figure out like all the steps and then just automate it. Like we're just gonna get there that much faster,
Yeah.
right? And here's the thing: if you're not doing this and your competitor is, I'm sorry, like you just can't compete. Like you will not be able to deliver the result, at the same pace.
Because it's too much of an advantage, right? This isn't a 5% increase where like, yeah, it might hurt you a little, but no big deal. This is such a massive advantage that their their costs are going to go down so significantly. They could be 20, 30, 40% less in cost to you and more efficient and doing better. I mean, obviously it depends on the business, but this is huge. This isn't a minor change.
No,
right?
it's definitely not. And then the other part that's really, really cool is, NVIDIA just like NVIDIA had released their Jetson Nano like, last week or the week before. And that thing is designed for AI processing, right? So to your point about having the right specs, like just go buy one of those things, $250, $500, for an upgrade, or if you got it, spend 2,000 for the higher end version, right? Like whatever, and just load this in there
Mm-hmm.
and start running all those models using those resources on a really, really light device. Start figuring out what you can automate, because if it costs me $2,000 and I hate to say it this way, but replace an entire employee's function and all I have to do is plug this into a wall and, have it already pre-programmed and ready to go. Like this is game over in a lot of scenarios.
Yeah.
And it gets better from here, like you keep saying.
This is again, every time we should say that this should open this is everything we talk about is the worst it will ever be. It's only getting better and very, very fast. So all this crazy stuff we're talking about, this is the worst. It's only getting better. You can't bury your head in the sand and then think, oh, this will just go away. Like, no. Not only is it not going away, it's going to get better.
Yeah.
But it is interesting though, like how much this AI agent meta is really taking up everywhere. Of course, I'm paying very close attention in general, but I think it was Y Combinator or AI A16Z or somebody was saying that the AI agent, application software, economy that's coming will be 10 times bigger than the SaaS business model.
Oh yeah.
I mean, people have been obsessed with building SaaS companies because of how much money they can make for the last, 15 years. And now something is here that is brand new, easy to use, easy to build, and it's going to be 10x bigger. Like, how do you not want to jump on this right now when you hear this kind of thing?
So one thing I would say to folks that are looking at this and they're like, hey, there's so much opportunity, like what we're talking about, and like, where do I start? How do I start? All this stuff. Like, there's so much opportunity and it's like blue ocean everywhere. Mm-hmm. Don't get overwhelmed by the possibility. Just pick one thing.
Mm-hmm. The smallest too.
And the smallest one thing can be huge. Like, what's that one app, the calorie counter guy, right? Like,
yeah, making millions.
That thing's already doing 8 figures.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
And all it does is take a photo and count calories. And the biggest problem he had with their tool, it was teaching people how to take photos correctly, because they assumed AI could see through like their bowl. It's like if you're eating spaghetti meatballs and all your meatballs are underneath the spaghetti, it doesn't know
Yeah.
you got meatballs.
No X-ray vision yet. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that was
That's
funny.
crazy.
That was the
But
hardest thing he said.
the other one that's massive that makes a lot of news because it was made by a guy with no experience at 21, like not a tech person at 21, was the Riz app where you would just take a screenshot of what a girl texted you, and if you want to know how to respond in a creative way to make her like you more, you just take a photo of it and then it would send it to ChatGPT. ChatGPT would write responses and bring it back to you. That's it. And it's making like $1 million a month.
So that's crazy because I had an idea very, very similar to that, right? And you might be able to relate to this, TJ. As a married man, right? After so many years, you do kind of enter into a rut or a routine.
That's right. Yep.
And it's like it becomes so transactional with your text messages. Like, what if you had an app that would just like auto suggest occasionally, like,
So
here's some
we're building
that.
that right now. And I don't know if I've told you, we are building this. Yeah, or a version of this. So to your point, like this is a great idea. It's not that crazy hard to build, so we're building it.
I mean, it's wild, like just the possibilities of what you can do these days.
Yeah, yeah.
Who was it? Greg Eisenberg.
Mhm.
I think he posted something like this the other day. He's like, if you want to find an opportunity right now, just go to an app store. Go to like Apple App Store or Android App Store, and then just see like pick a topic you're interested in, search for it, and then find all the apps that are already there, and then find the one like that's doing really well, and then check out all the complaints, right?
Mhm.
And then you just take all those complaints and you fix them, and you just create a better app that's better, and like just go to town at that point, right? Like you've already got a proven business model. You just got to say you're better.
And it's not hard to be better if you're using the right tools and doing it right. Yeah, I mean that's very very doable. Yeah, Greg is definitely somebody worth paying attention to because he is a guy who is going all in on everything we're talking about, and he's not a tech guy or not non-technical, and yet he is going all in on AI agents and AI agent software, which is wild to see because he was never somebody talking deep in the weeds on tech. It was more about community, building audience. You know, he still talks about that, but most of his stuff now is about AI agents and AI agent software. I mean,
well, I think it's like he's got folks and teams and things that can help him with a lot of that stuff. But even then, like the folks he's talking with, you know, like I was watching an interview with him and the founder CEO of Replit, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they were building stuff live with Replit AI, the Replit agent, and it's amazing, like incredibly good. Like that's what sold me on signing up for it and using it for my own things. And but sometimes it's like there's so many tools, so many things. It's like where do you find the time to do all of it?
Well, that literally is my biggest problem for sure. Is all the building that I'm doing. I don't need these tools now because we already have the app already works and we're just fixing it. We don't need these things. So actually that can be the biggest problem. But that's where a community like ours can be so valuable is we just give you, hey, here's one or two, here's how to use it, here's why it matters. So you get to that point where you can hear from actual humans you can talk to know what matters, what you should be paying attention to. So you're still up to date somewhat. Yeah, you're still going to miss 99% of what's happening. Everybody does. But at least we are curating what actually matters, right? The valuable things that are coming out to get you to that place. And yeah, I would also say too on the Replit, I think we talked about this last time and people understand, but this Replit idea, if people haven't used it or any of those tools, Cursor, V0, you can just come up with an app idea and build the front end and the basics of it by yourself, like within an hour. Now, to make it work and to go sell it, you probably need a developer to, implement it today. That may change in the future, but right now you still need somebody. But the point is, you can do half the work on your own, maybe more than half, in an hour, right? What would have cost you 10 grand just to get the look of it, the design, some basics would have cost you 10 grand or more. Now you can do it for free in an hour. I mean, how does that not change everything?
Like I literally just downloaded and installed it, and then I was like, I want to try the pyramid flow because we're doing some AI avatar stuff right now, and it gave me all the dependencies. I click one button and it's installing all the things. Like now, I have done installation like this. I do know what it's doing,
Yeah,
but
but this
I
looks,
don't have to. Like,
well, remember, most people watching this and most people on the planet, this is like as foreign could be. Like,
yeah, yeah,
I don't understand this at all, what I'm looking at. But I think to your point, I don't need to, right?
yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah, this
I mean,
pretty,
it's like, do you have to understand electricity to flip on the light switch,
yeah, exactly. No,
right? And you know how to change a light bulb, and that's really all it takes to get light inside your house.
right. Yep.
And
Yeah.
geez, it's
Crazy.
like installing some crazy stuff now.
Yeah. I think it, just so that everyone knows too, a lot of people don't care about this kind of stuff, but it's more just the concept of another area where the AI agent meta is just completely taking over is the crypto space. So for people who aren't really deep into crypto, the using AI agents plus crypto has completely taken over the entire industry in terms of narrative, what people are excited about. There are now there's at least 2 or 3 multi-billion-dollar crypto tokens that are basically AI agent platforms. There's AI agents that have their own crypto token, that have their own Twitter accounts that can post, sometimes they post really dumb things. There's one called AI XBT that basically gives constant feedback about what's happening in the crypto space on Twitter. It has 300,000 followers and it started like a month ago or less. It's absolutely wild. And then what makes it even crazier, again, this will matter to people in the future, but just to understand, one of the problems with crypto that a normal person has is the UI, how to actually use it is very complex and annoying. And it's just, I still struggle. I actually went to buy a token today and I was like having a problem. What network am I on? How do I, convert the token to that? It's really annoying. Well, guess what? Agents, they can understand that stuff very easily, right? So when an agent is talking to another agent to use these crypto networks, there's no barrier to entry. Like, so people should be thinking about when they think of crypto as being too hard. Well, we are very nearly at the point where you would just have a chatbot and say, hey, I want this token, convert it from this token in a chatbot, and then it'll do it all for you. All the complicated stuff will happen on the back end. And that is very, very powerful because that's one of the biggest inhibitors to crypto is how complex it is to use. They're literally about to solve it in 2025.
Yeah, this stuff is moving so fast, like you keep saying, and it's it's really interesting that the folks that are doing this stuff is still the same population, right? Like when you think about the size of the population of where the advancements are coming from, it's like primarily still this core group of software engineers, developers that are still developing a lot of stuff. But the people building the businesses are like ordinary folks that are leveraging these tools. Like
that's right.
You have to be the person developing all these AI tools, but you can figure out how to leverage them to build a solution for somebody, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly how people need to think about it. That's what I think we are trying to get across to people is you do not have to know how to build your own LLM or some super complicated thing. You're basically taking something that already exists, already has had billions of dollars invested in it. Literally, that's what they're trying to do. They know that this is their goal, right? To build something that everybody else can build the hyper specific use cases. They're getting paid because you have to pay to use it. And then of course you're adding on extra pricing for the outcome for the user, right? So they are building these big tools for people like us to come in and build hyper niche tools, right? OpenAI is not interested in building a laundromat's AI agent for their 6-unit franchise. They're not going to do that, right? But regular people can do that. And that's good for them and it's good for the person building it. And people need to be thinking about that. The term AI wrapper was a big negative in 2023. It was like, oh, you're just building a wrapper. That, even Y Combinator said this on their last podcast. That is dead. That is gone.
Yeah.
Wrappers are everything. Wrappers are going to be, again, 10x the size of SaaS. So it's here and it's insanely powerful. People should be figuring out. Right now, you don't have to have your idea and start building it tomorrow, right? I mean, this is going to take some time, but the point is to understand as you dig in, what is the goal, right? It's finding that problem that you could use AI to solve that you could sell to somebody else. Hopefully lots of people.
So, slightly pivoting off of that, what's his name? I think it's like Sean Doe or something like that. But this guy, he's in the graphics design space, right? But he teaches on like sales objections, how to be a creative. He talks to a lot of folks that are experts in that area, or Christo, and I love his content. But he was saying like, what is a niche, and like, why are we not niche down enough? Like, and when we think about that, it's like a niche. He was like, it's just your market plus your passion, right? It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. Like your market is whatever industry that you're serving, and then what are you passionate about? And it may or may not even be related to the market that you're serving, but that becomes your niche, right? And if you just simply take those two things and go to AI and just be like here's some general exploration questions you can ask, right? Like I don't know what to build in this space, and you know, let's just say I'm a painter and I like LARPing, I like hitting people with wooden like plastic swords and stuff like that, right? Like okay, like what the heck am I gonna do with that? But you go give it to AI, it's like this is the market, like the skill set I have, and this is something I really enjoy. Um, what are all the possible angles that I can do to serve and build a business around this? And then you say like, what are all the pain points that folks like in this overlapping market deal with that I could uniquely serve? And then you say like, after you get that, it's like, okay, great, all these painful problems. Like, what can I do from a software AI side to solve those problems? Great. Which one is like the easiest, minimally viable product that I can generate that I can deploy within a week using AI? Boom. Like now you have your idea. Like and that's 4 questions, right? Like, and you've already got an idea that's unique to you. Nobody else is doing it, like because nobody's just like you with your experience and your niche or your skill set.
I mean, that's so true. And to make it even better is do this over voice. Get ChatGPT's voice. You're just chatting with a friend, asking him these questions, and he's just going to verbally chat it back to you. And that is incredibly powerful. And then you can go back, log back into ChatGPT and see it all in text anyway later. Yeah. I mean, this is, again, coming back to this concept of use AI to help you use AI, right? You got to be, I think this was the other thing to think about what we're trying to get people to understand, which is changing your mentality to be AI first, right? Anytime something comes to your head, you want to be thinking, and you don't know the answer instantly, or you're curious or whatever, you got to go to AI first. Stop thinking I need to research on Google, I need to ask a friend. No, ask AI first, and ask it in a way that's questioning your question, right? Like get just super high level, get into it, and it'll probably give you the right questions to ask potentially, and then ask those questions. So yeah. And this works. I have just a quick story. My wife started doing this. She's been a little slow to uptake this, but she was thinking about like, hey, it's the new year. How do I help my kids, start to learn and grow? And she literally wrote a 2-sentence prompt of like, hey, I want to teach my kids some life lessons, something like 2 or 3 sentences. And it broke the results were so good. She like printed them out instantly, and we're literally doing it now. And it was from 2 sentences. And it's because she just asked ChatGPT. She probably would have thought about it forever. She would have come to me to talk about it.
Yeah.
Ask ChatGPT, answer was perfect and done in 2 sentences for the whole year.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah. And I actually think her idea could be a micro SaaS. So we're actually something we're kind of thinking about working on. Could this be a micro SaaS concept? Because most people, again, don't want to go into ChatGPT to do these things, to figure this out for themselves, right? ChatGPT doesn't say, we write 52-week plans on how to teach your kids life skills. Somebody else has to do that, right? So that may be us.
And I think that's the opportunity. Like you can learn how to do this, and AI can help you learn, or you can use somebody like you guys, TJ, right? Like your
Yep.
team, and they can help you develop it. And then there is a middle ground where you do and take it as far as you want or can, and then you get help on the last mile.
That's right.
Right?
That's
And
right.
so like it's not all or nothing. And
Exactly.
I think the most important thing is you just get started. You just try.
That's right.
Like, so what do you fail? You spent a week on it, and
You're going to be so much smarter. Like any playing with AI right now is a win, no matter what, because you're going to learn and you're going to get smarter about what's possible, even if you don't get the outcome you wanted. And that's what everyone needs to do, and people are not doing as a general rule. Now, if you're watching this, if you're in the AI ROI Club, you're probably doing this or thinking about it. But I can promise you, 95% of people are just not doing this or thinking this. Like, it's amazing how many people are purposely putting their head in the sand. And again, partly it's because of fear, and they're right to be afraid. Right? People should be afraid for the change that's coming. Again, it doesn't mean 50% of people are going to be fired in 2026, but it means complete disruption in almost every white collar job. You will be disrupted. Does that mean you're fired? No, but it means you're disrupted. And that's very scary because it means change. People just have their head in the sand. They need to get it out and start playing with it. They can take advantage of this stuff.
so like I have no idea what any of these settings are. I just clicked the customize button, but it's installed, and I can click home now, and I can literally click on instant launch, and it will launch it in my browser. Like, how does it work though? I don't know. But this would be where I would combine AI tools, right? Like I would go back to uh, the Google real
Ask it to help you
time
with this.
and ask it, what do I do here? Like, because I don't know. I've never used this tool before. Like rather than me going through and reading a bunch of instructions, this is like having a mentor or a coach sitting right next
That's
to you.
right.
Like, just imagine your really smart teammate that's helping you get onboarded with anything. Like
That's what it is.
that's what this is, right? Like,
Yeah.
so
Crazy.
yeah. I don't know. I do want to play with it, but it's like, oh, well, look at that. I clicked the thing and it just worked. Okay, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think we definitely need an update on the next one of what's possible here, and show us a little bit about what you learned, because this seems really interesting.
Yeah. So I'm gonna play around with this and then figure it out and then come back and share some stuff because this is. I'm really excited about this already. This looks
Good.
super cool.
Good. Yeah, this is even beyond my understanding. So having somebody like you show me this is super helpful to me. So love it.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, anything else or anything in the community that we should be thinking about or doing?
No, we're doing a call tomorrow, which that's people who probably have already passed by the time they see this. But just honestly, we're just excited to share with everybody. What I mean, on the next call, JD is going to be on the call talking about some of the, detail in the weed stuff, what he's seeing, where this space is going. I know he's been talking to me lately. I don't even understand it yet, but about this interoperability that a lot of these AI developers are working on that's going to have a huge impact in the future. And then talking about some of these micro SaaS ideas that we're working on. One of them you just brought up yourself, and we're actually building that right now. So talk about why we're building it, use cases, how to think about it. Because again, I think this is what people need, right? They need plain English. Here's the idea. Here's how complicated or mostly not complicated it is. Here's how you could market it. Here's how you could use it in 3 different ways. And then realizing that this is not so big and scary. And like, yeah, anybody watching probably has at least a couple things in their world that they could build that would make real money pretty quickly and easily. But they just have to be in the mindset to figure it out.
One last little tidbit, and I think this is actually a huge hack, is if you're trying to build like a web app or you try to build like a mobile app or something, and you're like building it, you want to monetize it, and you don't know the whole process of deploying things to the App Store, like for Android and Apple, and that is a very long, painful process, by the way, especially on the Apple side. The shortcut you can take is asking ChatGPT or whatever AI tool you're using to help you develop. and just ask for, hey, give me this as a progressive web app. Progressive web apps are basically the websites that you can save on your phone and access, and it's just a web page, but on the mobile phone, because it's so responsive, it looks just like an app.
That's right.
And people just save the little icon on their desktop, on their screen and home screen or whatever, and they can just access it. Like, if you're gonna try to build some sort of app like that, and you don't want to go through the app store, you just want to get it to market as quickly as possible, that is 100% the way I would recommend going. You can go and build the app later after your concept has been validated.
That's right. That's what we're doing. Ours is a progressive web app right now. Yeah, for the exact reason you just mentioned.
Yep.
Yeah, and it worked to the user. Other than it's literally just the difficulty of figuring out. Okay, look on my phone, the thing comes up, it says install, and then once you've gone through that minor process, it basically works the same way. I mean, practically.
And the other hack to that is create a different URL that automates the installation, right? Like,
yeah, I didn't even know that was possible.
And so when they click on that URL, it takes them and automatically prompts them to install the app before allowing them to interact with it.
I had never heard of this, but see, I'm learning stuff all the time. That's an awesome idea. That's killer. That is killer.
It's just like, how do you hack the system and put things together and make it work better?
And make it easier for people. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah. This is great. All right. Awesome. Thanks, Al.